Well, Razorback fans, we had a chance to see John Calipari in his first official game as the Razorback head coach. How did it go? Well, let's talk about it in today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Neighbors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Thursday. As we know, there's no football going on, but we will talk a little bit of football and something that got Razorback fans really fired up. But we'll look into that a little bit too. But hey, Razorback basketball, 1-0. They are undefeated. They are on pace to go to the national championship. But either way, your 16th ranked Razorbacks defeated Lipscomb by a final score of 76-60 in a game at Bud Walton Arena. And a win is a win is a win. I'm never going to be upset about a win. People can feel a certain way, and we know that there's going to be Kentucky fans and mentions and Kentucky fans doing all this. They're just waiting. I'm just letting your Razorback fans know as soon as you guys lose a game, which is going to happen, you're going to hear about it from Big Blue Nation because they're obsessed. So just be on the lookout for that. Either way, Arkansas won by 16 points. And I was there at the game at Bud Walton, and I was really impressed at times, and I was really puzzled at times, which is not the end of the world. I think that when you have a new team, a new coaching staff, a whole new culture, a new stadium or arena that they're playing in, a lot of newness to it. I don't care how many exhibition games you played. I don't care how many practices you've gone to. There's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period. Now, how long is that adjustment period? Can't afford to be too long because you have Baylor coming up this Friday or this Saturday. So you can't wait too long. But in this game, you had some good performances. Boogie Fland once again led the team in scoring. He had 17 points in this game, as well as 3 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover, and a steal. He played 36 minutes in this game. With his 17 points, he went 7 of 18 from the field, but 1 of 8 from three-point land. Definitely do not need to do that. Do not need to do that. And a lot of it, occasionally at least, was about shot selection. But there were a few of them he was wide open. They were good shots. He just didn't make them. So he has to develop that a little bit more. But led the team in scoring there. John L. Davis, Nelly Davis, did Nelly Davis things. Has 15 points on 7 of 12 shooting, 1 of 4 from three-point land. Did also pull in 6 rebounds with an assist. Had 2 turnovers and a block and a steal. So also playing 36 minutes. You can see why he's the best player on this team. You can see why they want to go to him a lot. And you can see why, even though he's been hurt and he's been dealing with that, you can see why he's such an important piece to what this team's going to be about. And then you had Big Z, the other player that got to double-digit scoring for Arkansas. Had 12 points. He went 5 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3, and 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Was also able to get 3 rebounds and 3 block shots and a steal. Did have 2 turnovers in this one. Only played 21 minutes, and one of the reasons being is because he got in early foul trouble. So you can't do that. But had other guys step up as well. I was really impressed by Adu Thiero. That guy, you see the athleticism that he had. You see the explosiveness that he has. He's not going to be the guy that, at least he may do it in some games, but he's not going to be the guy that just fills up a stat sheet. He's a guy that got 8 points, sitting there with 4 rebounds, also threw in an assist, had 3 steals in this game, went 4 of 6 from the field, played 20 minutes. So to me, that's exactly the type of player that you need to have. You need to have somebody like that whether it's starting or coming off the bench or whatever, you can just count on them to maybe not necessarily be like perfect and elite at one thing, but be solid at everything. And I think Adu Thiero is exactly that player, and his mean athleticism, some of the dunks that he has, you can just see why he was a 5-star player and why people are so big on him. But some other players of note, DJ Wagner played in this game, 32 minutes for him. Didn't shoot the ball too much. Went 3 of 7 from the field for 7 points. Did have a free throw make. Had 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Did turn the ball over 3 times, which is way, way, way too many. And also threw in a steal in there. Trevin Brazil, shout out to him as well. Trevin Brazil. People for whatever reason, feel a certain way about Trevin Brazile. I will not allow Trevin Brazile slander ever. But 6 points out of him. He went 3 of 5 from the field, 22 minutes of play, but had 8 rebounds, led the team in rebounding, which is always great to see. You want to see your big men get after it and get the rebounds. He also had 2 steals and an assist and only 1 turnover. So he looked really good. Jonas Adu, got to see him a little bit in action. He's still trying to get back from the injury. Played 7 minutes, looked really rough in his first possession, or at least the first run that he had. When he comes back in, he looked a little bit better, but only had 2 points in this game. Did get 3 rebounds, turned the ball over twice, but only played 7 minutes. So he'll get better. If there's a player that I'm going to feel great about when it comes to how good he's going to be, it's going to be Jonas Adu, because he's proven it. And an SEC school like Tennessee a year ago, he's an upperclassman. He knows his stuff, and he's going to be fine. It may take a little bit while for him to get acclimated, but once he's fully healthy and ready to go, I think he's going to be great. Even Carter Knox and Billy Richmond didn't play a whole lot between them, but when they did play, it looked really good. Carter Knox had 5 points, did hit a 3. Also was able to get 2 rebounds and a steal in 11 minutes of play. Billy Richmond, the other true freshman, had 4 points, 2 of 3 from the field, had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, actually. Did have a turnover, but 1 block and 1 steal in 15 minutes of play. So had a stat pretty much in each category, which is always good to see. So I just went through the list there of what some of the players did and how it looked. But here's the deal. It's not a perfect game. It was not a perfect game. But it was a game of runs in the way of, man, you see exactly how good this team can be. And then you also see, oh, man, they still got a long way to go. That's how I felt like it was in this game. There were runs, especially at the midway point in the first half, where Arkansas got a commanding lead. They did it on defense. They did it on great passing. They had great shot selection. The energy was there. You had Lipscomb have to take a couple of timeouts to stop the bleeding a little bit. Those were the things to where I'm like, okay, that's how good this team can be. That's exactly what they'll be able to do against other good competition and why they could be such a problem in a lot of these games. But then there were also times where the drought hit. Bad shot selection, leaving guys open defensively, not doing anything in the half-court offense, not getting the players that need to touch the ball, any of the passes. And also, at times just looks tired. This team looks tired way too often, looks exhausted way too often, and that's a problem. Can't have it, won't have it, got to get better from it, got to develop it. But that's something that I've really noticed just in the small sample size that we have. They always look tired, and I don't like that. But there were times that they just look confusing. Looked like a team that hadn't played together and looked like a team that's still trying to get into game shape. So, again, was not perfect by any stretch. But, man, when this team is playing at their best, when they get it going on, they are a lot of fun to watch. Only 10 assists to 12 turnovers. You can't have that. Can't have that. Not just because of the ratio, but just only 10 assists. You took 63 shots in this game and only had 10 assists. You made 34 shots in this and only 10 assists. That ain't getting it. And also 3-point shooting, man. 21% from the field, 4 of 19. Now, I am not going to panic by this and not going to freak out about this. I do believe Arkansas is still going to be just fine when it comes to how they're going to hit threes. Are they going to be the best team ever? No, but I think they're going to be better than that. But, man, I am just so sick and tired of watching teams that Arkansas has not hit threes. I'm really hoping that this is actually the year they do. I feel like every single year that Muss had guys that coming out of the portal or whatever, really good shooters, and then they get to on campus and they just get worse. They just regress. I don't know why. So let's hope it's not an epidemic that's going on there at Bud Walton Arena or something like that. But still, got to work on that. Got to work on the defensive side of things too. I think the game got within 4 points there in the second half, but Arkansas also had a lead that was at 17 points, but won by 16. So again, I'm not going to apologize for a win. I'm not going to be upset over a win. You got the dub. You're fun. You're entertaining. You're only going to get better. You're only going to get healthier, hopefully. And I'm not going to have any comments or concerns with that. Before we move on, though, I do want to kind of call the fans out a little bit. And when I say the fans, I'm not directly saying fans because I think there's a lot of other things to go into it. But I was really disappointed in the crowd. I will be honest. I know it's a Wednesday night. I know it's Lipscomb. But you're talking about game one under John Calipari, the era just officially beginning. And I was a little disappointed in it. Disappointed to see the arena just a little over half full. I think there's probably 11, 12,000 people there. Every time you look at the box score, it's going to say 19,200, which was not the case. But I was just a little disappointed. And I saw so many tickets that just went unused and that weren't trying to be sold or anything. I don't know how to fix it. I just feel like it's got to be a group effort. Just don't let this happen. I don't want to call them out and call out fans and just be like, you're terrible fans. I'm not expecting you, if you live in Little Rock or if you live in Hot Springs, to drive up on a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock to watch a basketball game. I'm not saying you have to do that. But if you have the tickets, try to sell them. If you can't sell them, give them away. Give them to me, and I'll give them away to Razorback fans that can use them. Just don't want to have empty seats like that. So let's not let that happen again. Let's have really good crowds. Let's have really good atmospheres. And let's find a way to put some butts in the seats, even if you can't make it. Again, I know you want to make your money. We all want to make our money back. But try to find ways to get people in your seats. I will gladly give the tickets away. I know plenty of Razorback fans that would love to go to a game. They can't afford it, or it's just, especially for a family of 4 or whatever. Either way, I'm your man. So just let me know if that's ever the case. Okay? Okay. Nice win. 1-0 on their way to being undefeated. We are going to talk a little football, though, and something that really, really is crazy about Sam Pittman. Talk about here in a second, so stay with us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans out there, I am really excited to tell you about this. Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for $5 a month. The new gold standard is here, and with Robinhood Gold, you can sign up at robinhoodgold.com/gold. Again, robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. We're also, of course, brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to do and everything you need to see when placing live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get the hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your first bets. So join FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Trigger warning, Razorback fans, trigger warning. You're probably going to get very upset by this, or at least it will make you really annoyed. Sam Pittman, Razorback football, not very high for Razorback fans. You know, not the energy level, not the excitement that people want. They want it to be better. You're going into a bye week. You have 3 games left, and only one of them look winnable at this point. Just kind of, I wouldn't say down in the dumps, but there's no energy. There's no excitement. There's no intrigue, especially after you got embarrassed against Ole Miss just a week ago, less than a week ago. A lot of you are wanting Sam Pittman gone. A lot of you wanting to go a different direction. And I don't blame you. Like, if you want Sam Pittman to stay, that's fine. If you want Sam Pittman to go, that's fine. I'm not going to say you're dumb for wanting Sam Pittman to go. I'm also not going to say you're dumb for wanting him to stay. But it's really up in the air. And I think a lot of Razorback fans feel that this is going to be the final season for Sam Pittman. I have felt like that, and I've said it many times. I felt like no matter what happens, this was going to be the last year for Sam Pittman. It's just my gut feeling, had no evidence of it. But this all came to a full-fledged, interesting discussion. On3.com, On3 Sports, does a great job of covering things in all the sports world. They put out on their website with a guy by the name of Pete Nakos, who does a great job for them. Legitimate reporter, covers transfer portal and everything like that, but was talking about the coach's hot seat and what it looked like for people and what it looked like for coaches at various spots. And Arkansas was brought up. So here's what I'm going to read verbatim of what he had to say about Arkansas and Sam Pittman and the current status of his hot seat. It says, quote, with quarterback Talon Green and Bobby Petrino's offense, Arkansas sits at 5-4 overall and 3-3 in the SEC. Head coach Sam Pittman picked up a signature win earlier this season at Tennessee. Despite the momentum, though, the Razorbacks were embarrassed this past weekend, 63-31 by Ole Miss. So with a 25-22 mark since 2021, his buyout stands at $12 million. With just one more win needed for bowl eligibility, the going thought is Pittman will be back for 2025. That's a legitimate reporter who would be in the know. He says the going thought is that Pittman will be back in 2025. Now, again, I want to reiterate, if you believe he should be gone, that's fine. If you believe he should stay, that's fine. It's your opinion, whatever it is. What I don't like is the fact that it is so much this right now, where it's like, oh, the going thought is him coming back. No, I still think the option needs to be there for him not coming back. That's what I want to see. And it could go either way. It's hit or miss. It's a 50-50 shot. According to this, that's not what that sounds like. It sounds like, no matter what happens, in these final 3 games especially, as long as they get one more win against Louisiana Tech, as long as they get that one more win, he's fine. He's going to come back next year. Folks, I'm going to be very honest with you right now. I'm not calling for Sam Pittman's head. I'm not. However, if Arkansas just goes 6-6 this year, they beat Louisiana Tech. They end the season losing 3 straight SEC games, 2 of which have been at home, and especially if they get embarrassed, which is very possible against Texas. If that happens, the excitement and energy surrounding the program will be at one of the all-time lows. You may say, John, you're crazy. The Chad Morris thing. No. Chad Morris was about this long. It was 2 years, less than 2 years he was here. It sucked, but at least people knew that there was going to be a change and the excitement built from that. This is something to where you feel like you've seen it. You've seen the best of it. And even though there's about a $12 million, which I believe is important, it's an important fact in all of this. If you go 6-6, even if you won the bowl game, because it doesn't matter, you're going to go to Birmingham against Rutgers or some crap like that. Even if you won the bowl game, where's the excitement going to come from? At least after that 4-8 season a year ago, you were able to have some excitement about the Petrino angle. But if you go 6-6 this year and you get embarrassed again, you get smoked by Texas, and you lose to Missouri again, how are you going? How can anybody be excited about next year? Where is that going to come from? Where's that momentum going to come from? That's my thing. I won't be excited. And I don't know how you will be either. And what makes this exponentially worse, and this isn't necessarily anything that has to do with Arkansas, but what makes this exponentially worse for Sam Pittman in Arkansas is that Razorback fans, you're seeing other teams surrounding you seeming to have more fun than you. Ole Miss seems to be having a lot more fun in their football program than you. Missouri seems to be having more fun in their football program than you. A&M, same thing. Shoot, even Mississippi State, they got a new coach. I don't know how good Levy's going to be. He's not good this year, but there's at least the potential there. So where's your excitement at? I don't have any. I wouldn't have any. So that's the problem that I have. That's the concern that I have. Bigger than anything. Is if you keep Sam Pittman, where's that excitement come from? I don't like how already right now that's the thought of him coming back. I still want the option. Give me the player option. that I can opt out of if I want to. That's what I'm asking for right now. But there's another thing that coaches make mistakes in, and Sam Pittman's guilty of this, and we'll talk about that dealing with the NIL here in just a second. So stay with us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, all you Razorback fans out there, and all you guys especially. I mean, hey, listen, your sex life is very important. We all know that. But your schedule can sometimes be busy. You don't have the time to go to a doctor's office to get treated for ED. But through HIMS, you can get a personalized ED treatment without stepping a foot outside of your door. HIMS is changing men's healthcare by providing you access with affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your own couch. HIMS provides a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable hard mints and Viagra and Cialis, and their generics up to a 95% cheaper rate. So you get more bang for your buck, literally. The process is 100% online, and there's no need for any of those uncomfortable doctor's visits. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, HIMS can help you find the ED option that works for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized ED treatment options. HIMS.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compound products, which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and see important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. This is something that I'm just going to go through quickly because it does bother me, about coaches' comments and dealing with NIL. It's not a Sam Pittman problem. It's a coach's problem in general. A lot of coaches don't know how to approach this. When you lose or you struggle, if you bring up NIL, to me, that makes you look like a loser. Okay? There is a reality that NIL plays a huge part in teams that are good compared to teams that aren't so good. And there is a reality that Arkansas, when it comes to their NIL in football and bringing in talent right now, is not to the level of the Georgias and the LSUs and the Alabamas and all of that. Completely true. That's a reality. But what's not a reality is when I'm hearing Sam Pittman and people bring up the blue light special of players that Arkansas has, and Ole Miss has the Louis Vuitton players coming out of the portal with NIL. I don't like that. In fact, that doesn't sit well with me whatsoever. NIL is a huge part of a program success, season success. But it is not what defines one particular game in the success or lack thereof. And what I mean by that, Arkansas getting destroyed and embarrassed on their home field against Ole Miss had zero to do with NIL. Not a bit. That was coaching. And it's also on the players. But there was zero excuse for that for NIL. Zero. You can't sit there and tell me that you're good enough to beat Tennessee. That you're good enough to get A&M all that they want. That you're good enough to beat Auburn, to beat Mississippi State handedly. You can't tell me that you're good enough for that, but that the Ole Miss Rebels just have so much more talent far and away than you that you had no other option, no choice but to get embarrassed and get smoked by them on your home field. I will never accept that. That is Bush League, that is a lie, and that is loser talk. I understand you want to give a message out to your donors or whoever to say, hey, we got to get the NIL up. Totally understand that, totally get it. But the times that the least that you need to do that, the least amount that you need to do that, do not do it at times when you're losing and you're struggling. That's not going to get anyone on your side. And especially because Ole Miss, yeah, they're a really good team. Don't get me wrong. But it's not like they've been beating the brakes off of everybody. They lost to LSU. Lost to Kentucky, for crying out loud. They've had some close calls. But you got flat out embarrassed. They broke 6 records, school records against you. What'd that have to do with the NIL? 0. So don't ever mention that crap to me. Miss me with that. We all know the reality. But don't try to make excuses for it because you just don't have enough NIL because you got your butt handed to you. Don't do that to me. Appreciate everybody listening in and watching into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Neighbors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. We'll keep going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.